So has there ever been a character from comic books that you ended up loving simply by how cool he looked? Well, for me, that character is Moon Knight. Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and man, with the Moon Knight series hitting Disney Plus, I thought it was the perfect time to do this video. I am so amped to check out this new series. It's something I've been hoping for so long. As of the recording of this video, it has not aired yet. I have not watched any of it yet, but I just thought with it dropping soon, this would be the perfect time to do something a little bit different. You see, Moon Knight is one of those characters that I've always gone out of my way to collect all of his action figures. Do you do that in your collection? Do you have like a certain character that you just focus on and collect lots of different types of toys specifically on that character? I actually have a few in my collection, and Moon Knight is one of those characters. As I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, Moon Knight is one of those superheroes that really caught my eye as a kid simply because he looked cool. I mean, he's got this mostly all-white costume. He wears a hood up so high that his face is totally shadowed out, so all you could see are his piercing white eyes. Something about that costume always appealed to me, and long before I read anything about the character, I proclaimed him being one of my favorites just because he looked cool. And I know I'm not the only one who has done that with a superhero, so don't act like you haven't done that. As a kid, I used to ride my bike down to the local comic book shop. I used to love digging through the long boxes of back issues just to see what kind of old stuff might catch my fancy, and I specifically remember buying these two very books right here. Moon Knight Special Edition number 3 and Marvel Fanfare number 30. This right here is how I fell in love with Moon Knight, specifically because I thought this character looked so very cool. And these two books right here was the beginning of my love of one of my favorite Marvel characters. Over the years, I have collected lots of different action figures for him, and there haven't been a whole lot. Now, I'm not going to say that I have every single Moon Knight toy that has ever been produced, but I have a lot of them, and today we're going to take a look at my Moon Knight collection. So the first Moon Knight in my collection, I believe, is the first Moon Knight figure that existed. It was released in 1997 as part of the Marvel Gold line from Toy Biz. The Marvel Gold line was really interesting. It essentially included a bunch of characters that they hadn't released a bunch of figures before, like Black Widow and Black Panther and Moon Knight here. It also was a lot of hodgepodge things. As you can see with Moon Knight, a lot of his details are just simple lines kind of painted on the body there. Very, very basic figure. I do like that he's got a nice shimmery vinyl cape. I think that's pretty cool looking, though the hood does leave something to be desired. It's a little weird looking. Following that up, also in 1997, Toy Biz released Moon Knight in their 10-inch line. There were so many figures in this 10-inch line. I remember these things being all over the place at KB Toys. Very similar to that Marvel Gold version of Moon Knight. This is also just a very simple repaint. I believe they reused the Silver Surfer's body for this one. He does have a really nice pearlescent paint deco, so he's very shimmery. They also added the gold touches to him. The belt and the wrist bracers and the boots have the more yellow. And then his cape on this one, instead of being vinyl, it's just sort of like a really lightweight fabric. It actually hangs a little bit better, so it's not as stiff as what we saw on the smaller figure. But yeah, these were the two earliest versions of Moon Knight in action figure form. So that brings us to the Marvel Select Moon Knight. Now, this one was released in the early 2000s, and at the time, Diamond Select was releasing some of the more detailed Marvel figures. At least it felt that way. It was always something special when they would reveal a new one, and we always tried to see if we could fit this in with our Marvel Legends figures. So I was really excited to see them tackle a character like Moon Knight. He definitely looks like an early 2000s figure when you're looking at the articulation and everything, but I still think he's painted really nice. You can see there's a lot of shading and everything going on there. This figure was sculpted by Paul Harding, who does a lot of modern Marvel Legends sculpts now, so it's pretty cool that I believe this is one of his earlier figures that he did. It also originally came packaged with a statue of Khonshu. I've misplaced that somewhere. I know I've got it, but still happy that I hold this figure in my collection. Also, crazy enough, they just announced that they are reissuing this exact same figure with some new gold paint deco, since, you know, Moon Knight's all popular again thanks to the MCU series, and it's going to be available through shopdisney.com. How about some Marvel Hero Clicks? So I believe this was the first Moon Knight Hero Clicks figure. There have been multiples, but this is the only one that I own. This is also from the early 2000s, around when Hero Clicks were pretty new. I definitely played Hero Clicks a few times, but I never got fully into it. I had a moment where I was collecting a lot of my favorite Marvel characters in Hero Clicks form. The only one that I ended up keeping was this Moon Knight here, but still happy that I have him. Really rounds out my awesome Moon Knight display. Alright, feels like we can't talk about a collection of one character in action figure form without talking about Funko Pops, because Funko has made everybody you can think of in pop culture. I've got two different Moon Knight Funko Pops, one in the classic comic book costume and one in his Mr. Knight getup in the suit there. They're both pretty cool for what they are. I mean, if you like Funko Pops, you know what you're getting here. I don't have a lot of Funko Pops in my collection, but I am happy that I've got the Moon Knight ones for this particular display. The only thing I don't like about these is how the Marvel ones all have to be bobbleheads. I don't know, that just really bugs me. We can't talk about Marvel action figures without talking about Marvel Legends. Now, Toy Biz did a Moon Knight back when they were doing Marvel Legends, and I have it, but I can't find him. I've totally misplaced him for this video. I looked everywhere. I really wish I could show him off, but I do have my two Moon Knight figures that Hasbro released as well. They did their first one in 2017. Now this one is more based on a modern costume that he was wearing in the comic books, so his suit is mostly black instead of white. It's a really nice figure, but I was much more excited about the second one they did, which was in 2020. This one was exclusive to Walgreens, but it's a much more classic look for the character, and he is all white. The all white version of Moon Knight's costume is my personal favorite, so this is definitely my favorite of the Marvel Legends versions of Moon Knight. Disney Vinylmation. How many of you guys out there know about this line or collect this line? My wife actually really loved the Vinylmation figures, and we had a huge collection of them. If you don't know what they are, essentially they're all these Mickey-shaped vinyls that different artists would deco out in different ways. And there were some Marvel-themed sets, as you can see. When I visited Disneyland back in around 2017, I decided to pick up one of the Marvel blind boxes, and by some miracle, it turned out to be this Moon Knight figure. I was ecstatic that I got the Moon Knight, the one that I wanted the most out of the set, out of that blind box there. So it's a very fun and a little more unique of a Moon Knight that is in my personal collection. We can't not talk about Marvel Universe. So the 3 3/4-inch Marvel Universe line was really deep. Hasbro really made a lot of characters in this scale. This was sort of like the new Marvel Legends at the time. The 6-inch figures had sort of taken a back seat, and they went all in on this 4-inch scale. Moon Knight got a figure in this particular series, and I was so happy about it. I'm really happy that I have this figure still. It's honestly the only Marvel Universe figure I still own. I had a bunch of these at one time, but I opted to hang on to Moon Knight here. Very cool line and a really cool figure. Mezco tackled Moon Knight in their 1/12 collective line. Now, they've actually done him twice. The first release was that more modern costume that's mostly black, and I ended up skipping on that one. The 1/12 figures are really nice, but as you guys probably know, they're also pretty expensive, so I just didn't feel like I wanted to spend that kind of money for a costume that I wasn't totally in love with. But then they got me in 2019 when they also released the all-white version of Moon Knight, so I jumped at it, and my goodness, this is a beautiful action figure. If you've never collected anything from the 112 line before, his costume is all an actual cloth costume. Like, that's not a sculpted plastic suit, but it's so flexible. All of the articulation, of course, is underneath that, so the articulation's hidden, but he's still incredibly posable. Plus, he comes with a ton of accessories, multiple different weapons, some of which have real metal change. He's got lots of swappable hands. You can even take off the hood and swap out the head for a unmasked head, where you can see Mark Spector's face as if he just got done with a fight. It's all bruised and battered. You can see the hood kind of peeled back. It's a really cool action figure, and definitely one I am happy to have added to my Moon Knight collection. So there you have it. That is my collection of Moon Knight toys. All of those different action figures that I've been collecting over the years for the character. And man, with him hitting Disney Plus with his own series, I can only imagine there's going to be at least a new Marvel Legends figure on the way. Maybe we'll get something in the Retro 375 line. Oh, definitely, yes, a brand new Moon Knight from the Disney Plus series is coming, as it was just announced from Hasbro as I was editing this video. It goes on pre-order this April, so happy hunting. Maybe we're going to be seeing a lots more Moon Knight because suddenly he's going to go mainstream, and I think that is pretty darn cool. I've got a lot of fun things in my collection. I'm anxious to add some more. I can't let this go without also mentioning that in my studio, I do have a copy of a Moon Knight comic book signed by Doug Mensch himself that was gifted to me by my good friend Kevin. So it's another opportunity to say thank you, Kevin, for this awesome piece of my collection. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Something a little different, but you know, I thought it was a lot of fun. It's something I wanted to show off, and I'm serious. I'm curious if any of you guys do the same thing. Are there any characters that you specifically focus on where you collect all of their action figures? Or tell me about a superhero that you started liking just because you thought he had a cool costume. I got to give a very special thanks to all of these lovely Patreon supporters, and of course, every single person who is watching this video. I appreciate you all, and until next time, my friends.